Vietnam provides free education in public school system. Administrative reforms to boost private sector growth. In the world news, US and Russia agree to restore embassy staffing.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It's now 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. I'm Phie with the latest updates. Now, the Political Bureau of the Party's Central Committee on Friday decided to waive all tuition fees for students from preschool to high school in the public school system nationwide, starting from the 2025 to 2026 academic year. The Politburo made the decisions after examining the government's report on financial balancing capabilities during and after the streamlining of the political system's organizational structure under the Politburo's Resolution number 18. Previously, several localities had already implemented the tuition-free policy for students in the public school system. During a discussion with Chinese enterprises on Friday, Prime Minister Phie emphasized the principle of cooperation based on harmonious benefits and shared risks. He highlighted the strong Vietnam-China relationship as both comrades and brothers, aligning with the 6 more cooperation principles set by the two nations' senior leaders.
Chinese corporations expressed gratitude to the government and Prime Minister Phie for regularly addressing business challenges and recognized Vietnam as a key global investment destination. At the meeting, the Vietnamese Prime Minister congratulated Chinese corporations' achievements and urged ministries to respond to business concerns within a week, ensuring clear accountability and results. He outlined Vietnam's 9 key policies, emphasizing rapid yet sustainable growth, institutional and infrastructure reforms, streamlined administration, reduced bureaucracy, and financial stability. He also called for lower interest rates, stable exchange rates, and continued tax and fee reductions to support businesses.
We are committed to prioritizing growth and setting a target of at least 8%. Achieving this requires collective effort from ministries, localities, businesses, and the people to build momentum toward double-digit growth. While this is a significant challenge, self-reliance remains key, alongside international support, including from the Chinese business community. Vietnam-China relations are developing positively, built on trust and sincerity. The challenge now is to translate this strong foundation into concrete programs, projects, and action plans, turning potential into tangible financial and material benefits that improve the well-being of both nations.
Emphasizing the Vietnam-China friendship of both comrades and brothers, the Prime Minister urged businesses to lead in implementing high-level agreements. He encouraged Chinese enterprises to use Vietnam as a production hub, support the digital and green economy, and engage in social security efforts. He also called for technology transfer, assistance in scaling Vietnamese businesses, integration into global value chains, and contributions to institutional development and smart governance.
Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Bùi Thanh Sơn chaired a meeting on Friday to review relevant agencies' preparations for Hanoi's hosting of the 4th Summit of the Partnering for Green Growth and the Global Goals 2030 in April. The summit, scheduled for April the 14th to the 17th, is expected to bring together approximately 800 to 1,000 delegates from over 15 countries, international organizations, investment funds, research institutes, and businesses. The Deputy Prime Minister suggested that the summit's agenda include an additional session on just energy transitions, alongside 4 existing discussions on sustainable finance, food system transformation, breakthrough technologies, and human capital development. Vietnam will also invite ASEAN leaders to participate in the event to highlight regional solidarity in shaping global issues. A project to receive Japanese-donated mine clearance equipment for Vietnam's National Mine Action Center was announced at a ceremony in Hanoi on Friday. The project, valued at 500 million yen, or approximately $3.3 million, is part of the Japanese government's non-refundable aid program. The project aims to minimize the contamination of mines and explosives remaining after the war in Vietnam, particularly in heavily contaminated areas. The provision of modern equipment, along with an in-depth training program, will enhance the management and mine clearance capabilities of the Vietnam National Mine Action Center. From 2010 to 2016, Japan provided $5.5 million in funding. This reaffirms Japan's strong commitment to supporting Vietnam in overcoming the consequences of war and promoting sustainable development. The Vietnam government is actively simplifying administrative procedures to help private enterprises achieve faster and more sustainable growth. Many businesses have expressed enthusiasm for this policy, noting that excessive bureaucracy has long been a barrier to their development.
Since joining Ho Chi Minh City's stimulus program in 2020 to 2021, mechanical enterprises have borrowed billions of US dollars for factories and technology, but have yet to receive loan interest support due to legal restrictions. Though recently approved, disbursement procedures remain incomplete.
A case such as this, lasting for more than 4 years, is unreasonably slow for businesses participating in the stimulus program, creating significant challenges and pushing many into a difficult situation.
Social housing developers encounter significant challenges as legal procedures often take 4 to 5 years. The lengthy process involves multiple steps, including planning adjustments, land transfer approvals, investment policy approvals, and price appraisals, all of which contribute to project delays.
Our costs will rise significantly, including interest expenses. Secondly, we lose valuable investment opportunities, which are crucial.
Experts highlight private enterprises as a dynamic, innovative force driving national economic growth, especially in Ho Chi Minh City, the country's economic hub. Administrative reforms are crucial to unlocking their full potential.
To drive strong growth, administrative reform, such as streamlining procedures, reducing approval times, and expediting business licensing, is essential.
Experts emphasize that reducing administrative procedures and legal barriers is crucial for economic growth, especially as the government targets 8% growth in 2025 and aims for double-digit expansion in the following years.
In line with Resolution 25, the government has tasked the Ministry of Finance with lowering regular expenditures to below 60% of total state budget spending in 2025. To achieve this, the ministry is implementing various measures to cut costs and allocate more resources for socio-economic development.
This tax office construction project, with a total investment of approximately $3.2 million will not proceed this year, despite completing the bidding process, as decided by the General Department of Taxation. Overseeing a system from the central to district levels, with nearly 40,000 employees, the department is also proposing various plans to streamline operations and reduce regular expenditures.
From January 1, 2025, all asset purchases will be temporarily reduced or halted. Approval for new investment projects will also be suspended. Strict measures will be enforced to cut regular expenses, particularly those related to conferences, seminars, and overseas trips.
The political system is committed to securing resources to boost development investment, particularly in key infrastructure projects driving economic growth. the Ministry of Finance has enforced regular expenditure savings from budget planning to regulatory approval, ensuring stricter cost-cutting measures.
Yêu cầu các bộ ngành,
Ministries, branches, and localities must review budget estimates, cut unnecessary or delayed expenditures, and prioritize savings. Resources should be reserved for disaster and epidemic prevention, national defense and security, development investment, and economic recovery support.
In 2025, the National Assembly approved regular expenditures at 61% of the state budget. The Ministry of Finance is cutting an additional 10% to fund the Lao Cai-Hanoi Haiphong Railway. The goal is to reduce regular expenditures below 55% this year, and further in the coming years to fund key projects like the North-South High-Speed Railway and the Ninh Thuan nuclear power plant.
By the end of March, a delegation from the European Commission, EC, is expected to arrive in Vietnam to assess its compliance with international obligations in the fight against illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. In response, 7 central coastal provinces from Thừa Thiên Huế to Ninh Thuận are intensifying measures to lift the EC's yellow card warning.
Following the 4th EC inspection, 8 central provinces have focused on 4 key areas: managing fishing vessel fleets, monitoring fishing activities, tracing seafood origins, and enforcing legal regulations. Notably, the provinces of Quang Ngai, Binh Dinh, and Quang Nam have reported 712 violations.
We have observed significant improvements in the areas of concern raised by the EC. We have addressed various violations, including those related to fishing in foreign waters, the operation of unregistered vessels, and the unloading of catches outside designated ports.
In preparation for the EC's 5th inspection, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development has instructed local authorities to prioritize eliminating vessels without proper registration, licensing, or monitoring equipment. Additionally, strict oversight is now required for vessels that have lost connection to tracking systems and for ensuring seafood traceability.
Our company has implemented a traceability system and categorized seafood clearly for both export and domestic consumption. We are confident that we can provide the necessary documentation to meet EC requirements.
The focus is on addressing the underlying issues rather than merely responding to inspections. Furthermore, the 8 central provinces are transitioning from traditional fisheries management to a modern, regulated fishing industry.
Coming up next, Mekong Delta employs freshwater reservoirs. And later on, protect cultural heritage from the impact of climate change. Welcome back to VTV News. Due to a tidal surge in early February, saltwater intrusion in Vietnam's Mekong Delta is expected to intensify over the next 3 to 5 days, reaching the deepest levels of the dry season. The saltwater could extend as far as 40 to 45 kilometers along the Cửa Đại and Cửa Tiểu rivers, with salinity levels reaching 4 grams per liter, making the water unsuitable for both agricultural and household use. On the Hàm Luông River, saltwater intrusion could extend up to 60 to 62 kilometers, while along the Cổ Chiên and Hậu rivers, it could reach 50 to 55 kilometers. The worst of the intrusion will occur in late March and early April. The Mekong Delta is entering the peak period of drought and saltwater intrusion. However, areas that were previously heavily affected still have sufficient water for daily life and production. This is due to the proactive response of local authorities and the success of long-term water infrastructure over the years, including large-scale water reservoir systems.
Since the Cain Lup Reservoir was put into operation, this family no longer needed to buy water at high prices. With the dry season water problem solved, they and other thousands of households in the district can focus on developing their livelihoods.
I have 2 freshwater lakes from the reservoir. My grandkids use it for everyday things, and our goats drink from it just fine.
The Cain Lup Reservoir has a capacity of nearly 1 million cubic meters. In 2019, this project was put into operation, benefiting around 200,000 people.
The reservoir mainly serves agricultural production and provides raw water for domestic supply. With Bintre's incomplete irrigation system, the reservoir plays a crucial role in providing water during the dry season.
This dry season, Hojiang and Kamau provinces have put into operation 2 reservoirs with capacities ranging from 1 to nearly 4 million cubic meters. Building on this success, many localities are continuing to implement large water reservoirs. The Lac Diet Reservoir in Bintre province, with a capacity of 2.3 million cubic meters, will officially start storing water in August this year.
Aviation security responsibilities will transfer from the Ministry of Transport to the Ministry of Public Security on March the 1st. The Immigration Department has outlined measures to ensure a smooth transition without disruptions. The department is also reviewing and revising security screening procedures to both maintain regulatory compliance and enhance passenger convenience.
At Nobai International Airport's International Departure Terminal, security checkpoints are consistently crowded. Passengers must first line up to present their passports and required travel documents. The process doesn't end there. Just a few dozen meters ahead, they must queue again to undergo exit procedures.
With so many procedures at the airport, we have to arrive hours in advance just to make it on time.
There are multiple security layers, each requiring us to present documents. It's quite time-consuming and nerve-wracking.
As part of an effort to streamline government operations and enhance efficiency, the Immigration Department will directly oversee aviation security management. All existing personnel from the Civil Aviation Authority will be retained to ensure continuity. Meanwhile, the department will gradually streamline procedures to maintain both security standards and traveler convenience.
With aviation security now under the Ministry of Public Security, we will restructure both personnel and procedures. Our goal is to integrate immigration control with aviation security screening, reducing the number of checkpoints while maintaining strict security standards.
Aviation security is a highly specialized field governed by stringent regulations, including international standards set by the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. With well-prepared personnel and upgraded equipment, the Immigration Department is ready to take on its new responsibilities starting March 1st.
Moving on to other news, a scientific workshop with the theme Vũ Lâm Palace of the Chen Dynasty, its historical role and orientation for conservation and promotion of values, was held in Ninh Province on Thursday. This event aims to preserve and promote the value of Chang'an World Heritage, according to the commitment to UNESCO. Located in a special area in Hualu Mountain Range, Ninh Province, Vũ Lâm Palace under the Chen Dynasty was an important military and political center, and was also the place where King Chen Nhân Tông became a monk and founded the Trúc Lâm Yên Tử Zen sect. Chang'an World Cultural and Natural Heritage is the center which creates momentum for the goal of building Ninh into a Millennium Heritage City. Thừa Thiên Huế, with the highest annual rainfall in the country, faces pressure in preserving the Asian Capital Relic Complex, a World Heritage Site, amid climate change challenges. The flexible application of folk knowledge combined with modern technology is the approach Thừa Thiên Huế is adopting to restore and preserve its heritage.
For the first time, 3D scanning technology was employed in the restoration of Thái Hoa Palace to preserve its original features and create a digital archive of the project details. This provides a reliable basis for precise comparisons during the restoration process.
Along with traditional painting, we must use technology. For example, we now install an anti-termite system with pipes running along the columns to periodically inject chemicals.
Hué's heavy rains have damaged the tiles of the relic. The glazed tiles have been repeatedly restored, but their quality remains poor.
In 1993, the Hué Monuments Conservation Center restored the tiles using a lead-based glaze with a melting temperature of around 800 degrees Celsius. This temperature didn't ensure the tile's integrity, causing leaks when water seeped in over time. Later, we proposed switching to a cyclic glaze with cyclic acid, which has a melting temperature of about 1200 degrees.
When we raise the temperature of the tiles to 1200 degrees Celsius, the two layers of glaze and clay melt and solidify simultaneously as the kiln stops. We also use new technology to make it waterproof and wear-resistant.
By combining traditional folk knowledge with new technology, Thái Hoa Palace has been revived after 3 years of restoration, restoring its Nguyen Dynasty appearance. This approach will also be used by the Hué Monuments Conservation Center to preserve heritage against climate change.
Coming up next in our world news. US and Russia agree to restore embassy staffing. And UK newspapers and artists launch campaign against AI copyright plans. The second meeting between US and Russian delegations on bilateral issues concluded in Istanbul on Thursday. The meeting lasted a record 6.5 hours. The US delegation on Friday stressed the need to ensure stable and sustainable staffing levels in the US Embassy in Moscow, adding that the two sides identified steps towards stabilization of operation of bilateral missions. Both countries also agreed to hold the next round of talks on diplomatic relations and banking access with later details. Russian President's press secretary Dmitry Peskov said that Moscow and Washington can reach a solution to the conflict in Ukraine if both sides maintain a political will and are ready to listen to each other. According to Peskov, the current situation is very complicated, requiring diplomatic perseverance along with significant efforts from all sides. As Muslims around the world prepare to mark the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Thursday urged people around the world to embrace their common humanity and work towards a more just and peaceful world. Ramadan is a sacred event for Muslim communities worldwide, and this year Ramadan begins from February the 28th to March the 2nd, depending on the country, and will conclude around March the 30th. During the holy month of Ramadan, Muslims abstain from eating, drinking, smoking from dawn to sunset. These practices aim to control themselves from worldly desires, do good deeds, and practice both physical and mental health. The Seoul government of South Korea announced that it will implement a new visitor nighttime curfew for Bukchon Hanok Village Red Zone starting Saturday. The move aims to curb the effects of excessive tourism and improve residents' quality of life. With the curfew, tourists will be able to visit the popular historical residential area only between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Those who violate the regulation will face a 100,000 won or $76 fine. There will be exceptions for residents, their families, and visitors who are not engaging in tourism-related activities. The number of visitors to Bukchon has gradually exceeded the numbers of residents, leading to many problems with noise, waste, and invasion of privacy of residents. The creative community is drawing a line in the sand against artificial intelligence, or AI. A campaign has been launched in the UK to demand fairness for artists who fear their unique ideas are being stolen by generative AI models. More on this to follow.
A series of British newspapers such as The Guardian, Daily Mail, The Times has simultaneously launched the Make It Fair campaign with the word AI in a different color. Its aim is to protest against proposed changes to copyright laws related to artificial intelligence. The proposed changes would allow AI developers to train their models on any material to which they have lawful access, and would require creators to proactively opt out to stop their work being used.
Generative AI competes with the work that it's trained on and the people behind that work. And that's why this is so terrible. We're not saying get rid of AI, but all of us, thousands of musicians who've come together, are absolutely adamant that we need to protect the value of copyright.
More than 1,000 British musicians have protested proposed changes to the country's copyright laws by releasing a special album, Is This What We Want?
And so it's an album of silence, almost silence. It's recordings of empty studios and empty performance spaces, which is, meant to symbolize what we expect will happen if the government's proposals go through. We put a message to the government in the track list, a pretty clear message.
For its part, the UK government believes that current copyright and AI laws are holding back the development of the creative, media, and AI industries. The government has pledged to continue to listen to stakeholders before making a final decision. Creative industries globally are grappling with the legal and ethical implications of AI models that can produce their own output after being trained on popular works without necessarily paying the creators of the original content.
And up next is the weather forecast. And that's the end of VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play, or visit our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again at 3 p.m. local time.